don't know if I'm upside down for you guys. How annoying. Let me know if I'm sideways, and I will rotate my phone. And I am very sorry about that. But otherwise, how is everyone doing? This is gonna be like I'm gonna have to read sideways, I guess. It's fine. Hello. This is gonna be so interesting. Yeah, will you just let me know if I'm in landscape mode for you guys? Will someone do that for me, please? Yeah, I can't get it to be in landscape mode for me, so I'm gonna be reading your comments sideways. And that's just how it's gonna be for this stream, I guess. Sideways. It's landscape but sideways. Great. Okay. So what if I like what if I do this? I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world if it's it's not the end of the world if it's sideways, right? Well, should I just do the stream like this? I should just do it like this, right? So there. I don't want it to be in portrait mode. Nope, it won't let me. So, yeah. I mean, okay. I don't know how to, it's gonna be okay. I just need to find a way to lock it now. Okay. Just hold on a second. I'll just talk. Look at my ceiling. It's so annoying. So, there we go. Okay. Welcome to Disorganized Nessa. I am organized. It's just how things go sometimes. Okay. That's like somewhat doable. You just get like, you got a different angle of my life. It's kind of nice. It's like TikTok. Are you guys on TikTok? Because I'm thinking of doing more things on there. I've had this kind of like anti-thing against TikTok. I mean, Facebook has been, no, not Facebook. YouTube has been very good for me. Okay, so many angles. So yeah, and like I'm on YouTube, so that's why I go on YouTube. But I kind of realized that, well, yeah. But I guess I'm thinking more of the fact that it's just a platform, right? It's just like a room to go. My niece explained this to me. It's like the internet is just full of like rooms, right? So it's like if you're there, then you get to hang out with me. And it's just a platform. So, I don't know. All right, can you guys see me? I have no clue. I mean, if you don't mind looking at me upside down. Okay. All right, great. I actually love how, what is script? What? Okay. What is that? You can live with it? Thank you so much for being so understanding that you can live with it. I kind of like portrait, you know? Like I'm in a very tiny box. There's nothing out here to look at anyway, and you can still see Dinosaur. You can still see him. He needs a name. I kind of love how this started because what's my favorite whale species? This is going so well so far. What is my favorite whale species? I love it. Let's just let's just talk about this for the whole live stream. Let's just talk about whales. My favorite whale species, I mean, who doesn't love a beluga? Beluga? Maybe just because of the song. Blue whales. I joined that call. What? Blue whales. I don't even fully know what a blue whale looks like, except I think that's the whale that was in Pinocchio. Oh, it's the biggest. Yeah, I just like the biggest one. So I picked the smallest one, I think. That's typical of me. I like the smallest whale. Thank you. That's what I will have. I have this thing where, like, I don't know what it is. So my cat, my first cat that I got when I was 6 years old, was so small, and that's why I liked her, and she always stayed that small. And then when I got a cat with my ex, like, we didn't plan that, but he was so small again, and he's still so small. And now my niece is very small for her age group. She's like a year now, but she has little cousins that are like 6 months or something, and they're bigger than her. I'm like, why are like the things in my life miniature sized? Anyway, that's my story. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, we can talk about whales. If you guys really want to talk about whales, we can talk about that. I don't know what that means. But I was going to talk about self-concept and being good enough. Being good enough. See, I hate this sentence. I made a post about this, but I hate the sentence, I'm good enough. I'm good enough. And this is like really old, stupid childhood Janessa. You could use some motivation. Okay, I'm going to give you some friggin' motivation. I will. Okay, we're going to be motivated by the end of this. All right, so stupid childhood Janessa was often very, very down on herself. Very, very down on herself. To the point where she was like, what's the point of living? Like, literally, that's how dire it was for me at times. Like, if I couldn't do certain things, I would get so depressed, so down on myself, so beat myself out. Yeah, girls, well, I don't know. I don't fart, but some girls do. Okay, guys, stop distracting me. I'm talking about what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. And so my mom used to say, like, Nessa, you know, you're good enough. And this was something that she kind of had discovered to tell herself, and it really helped. So she was like sharing her wisdom, sharing her like motherly love with me. And she'd say, like, Nessa, you're good enough. You're good enough just as you are. You're good enough. You're good enough. And I hated this. And I would roll my eyes and I would be like, thanks, Mom. Like, and in my state back then, it was kind of like, oh, so you just like gave up. Like, to me, it kind of felt like giving up, like just settling for whatever we are. Like, I guess this existence is good enough, and I guess who I am is good enough, and I guess how I look is good enough, and how I play piano is good enough, or whatever it is, you know? Oh, just like accept that you can't do it and move on. That's how I heard it. All right. I don't think that's how she meant to say it. And it's something that, I don't know, maybe it is one of those annoying things that you don't get until you get it. And if you don't get it, it's really irritating. Because if you don't get it, you're in the state of not being good enough, you know? So that sentence is kind of threatening to you, because you don't want to accept that you're good enough. You don't want to live in that state of being, you know? So this is something that I've kind of like fluctuated between, but I hear all the time, like, are you good enough? Like, do you think that you're good enough? Are you good enough to have it? And this goes into kind of like worthiness, right? And people will be like, oh yeah, I discovered that I'm worthy. And people, I don't know, if you don't get it, you're kind of like, okay, that's nice. You're good enough. Good for you. Like, it kind of seems like a no-brainer. But this past week, I don't know why, I was watching a lot of videos on self-concept. And for those of you who don't know, self-concept is really, really popular right now in the manifestation community, maybe in other communities too. But it's basically just how you perceive yourself. So like, and when I say yourself, it's like your little meat box, you know, your little personality self. So that's self-concept. And whatever, in manifestation, it's like, right now the conversation is, oh, the way you actually maintain your manifestations, or like the best place is by working on your self-concept, and everything else comes naturally. Okay, so there's like a lot of conversation around that. And there's like some core self-concept beliefs, that beliefs or like things that can be missing that people need to cultivate, let's say. So like typical ones are, you're not loved. It always kind of love, but it's like, you're not loved, you're not chosen, you're not enough. So these are all things that can like basically screw up your entire life if you believe them, right? And then everything is going to keep you within that container, because that's how it works. Like, you have this belief, and now everything has to show up as that to reinstate your belief around yourself in your world. Okay, so you have your chosen. So then what you want to do is you want to like flip it. You want to change it into the thing that you're now saying, no, this is now the reality. So I am chosen. I am loved. I am enough. Okay, those are like really the big ones. But everyone's different. Everyone is specific. Okay, anyway. So I was watching lots of videos on this. And I was like, all right, maybe, and this is, I don't want to say this is the rule. Nothing is the rule. But if you are particularly annoyed by something, chances are there's something in it for you. Chances are. I'm not going to say that's true, okay? And anyone who's like, oh, the lady protests, what is it? She protests too much from Hamlet. Yeah, I'm an actor. I should know that line, whatever. If you don't like something, it doesn't have to be relevant to you. But sometimes if you're especially prickly about a topic, there's something in it for you. And I have been really prickly about this. So literally, guys, I don't know. This is like kind of vulnerable, but literally I have been like affirming all week, I am enough. I am enough. And I've spent like a few days just crying in my bedroom. Not because it's bad, but because I don't know how to explain it really, but it's like it brings up, it's like what you finally want to feel and hear. And that's also something that I want to say about releasing emotions is it's not necessarily, how do I want to put this? Okay, so in therapy or in like self-development, or like basically kind of the way that we portray emotions in movies or things like that, we focus on the loss. We focus on the bad thing that happened. And that's the thing that is like the catalyst for emotion. But as an actor, I've actually always found that it's what you have lost. It's like the loss of love. It's the loss of faith. It's the loss of life. It's the loss that makes you angry or makes you sad or makes you afraid. It's the opposite of what you're experiencing. It's that you had a construct of the world that is now shattered, and it's that makes you cry or makes you upset. That's how I've always approached acting, that it's not the bad thing, it's the beautiful thing that now is gone from my life. And so if any of you guys feel like you need to express yourself, and by express yourself, I mean like express your emotions, my guess is there is something in you that like longs for something, that like really, really longs for something. And that's where those feelings are coming from. It's like you feeling and believing yourself, hi Janessa, you feeling yourself separated from that which you long for. That's what the upset is, and that's what the emotion is. Okay, so like all week I've been practicing, I guess, that I am enough just as I am, and I am safe just as I am, just as I am. And I've kind of fluctuated between like, yeah, being really, it's not that I've been sad, but it's like it's just brought up all these things that I guess I'm moving through. And then so like that to like boredom and annoyance. Okay. um so whatever, I guess that's where I fluctuate, and that's like my little ego trying to keep me in there. But something that I realized was that I'm really sorry if this is really all scattered all over the place, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's not that much. And I know you guys are typing, but I'll look at what it is. Anyway, being good enough. Okay, this is what I've realized. It's like, it's not taking away from you achieving or having whatever it is you want to be, have, or do. Okay, it's not taking away from that. And it's not saying, just give up. It's not saying give up. It's not saying that. It's actually just saying that you are enough. In this moment is enough. You are enough. You are perfect, whole, and complete. You are enough. There is nothing you need to change. There's nothing you need to change about yourself. Okay? And there never has been. There never has been. And from that place, you are completely free to do whatever you want and be whoever you want because you are enough. Another way of thinking about this is, for those of you kind of familiar with the term, living in the end. So I'm really big about this. I either say like living in the end or coming from. I use the phrase like coming from a lot. All right. So the way to like really get anywhere in life is you have to come from already being there. That's how it works. It's if you come from where you think you are and you're like at the bottom of the mountain, it's going to be so difficult to get to the top. But if you come from having already like accomplished it, then you're going to start working in a different kind of way. And if you come from the place, so let me put it this way. It's kind of an annoying infinity circle. But let me explain it like this. So you think there's something lacking in you, all right? And then you look out into your world and you go, oh, if I had this, then I would feel enough. I would feel accepted. I would feel loved. Then I would feel whatever. Or, oh, if I looked like that, or if I talked like that, or if I had these abilities. For me, it's like abilities. If I had that career, if I had that friend group, if I had this, then I would be enough, okay? But if you're coming from, you've already done all that. And you're coming from the place where in your head, now you're enough, right? That place where you've accomplished all those things you think is enough. So you're coming from the place where you are enough, and you want to live there always, that you are enough, that you are not separate from anything you want. And then from you already being all that you want to be, from you being more than enough, then you can go off and do and pursue whatever you want. But if you don't address that, it's not to say that you will never accomplish the thing. It's that because you can, and it actually has been a motivating force for a lot of people. Like, I don't want to, how do I put this? I don't want to put down anyone who is motivated by, like, I'll use Will Smith as an example. He had this YouTube series actually, and he kind of talks about like, he talks a lot about his father and how he needed to make everyone feel safe and happy, and that was like a driving force for his entire life. And that's amazing. Like, there's a good side to that too, of like, well, what a motivating factor, you know? He looked out and he said, oh, I need to do this. And he's become like such a top performer in that way in so many different areas of life. And I don't think he would want to not be that person that he is. I don't think. The show kind of casts it in a like, poor Will Smith, but I watched it kind of being like, you're Will Smith. Like, I think you're okay. I think you're okay. However, at some point, you have to say that you're enough. And so it doesn't take away from the other at all. And it also means that if you're enough, like you're enough to face anything in your reality, you're enough to have whatever it is you want, like you're coming from that place. I just feel like I'm repeating myself over and over and over again, but I'm still kind of in the middle of it. So anyway, that's something I'm working through. And for me, I feel like this is like a very personal one. Oh, I can only really talk about, I only ever really share things that like I'm worked through, by the way. I don't, if people talk to you about things that they're just like parroting back, I wouldn't trust it too much. But it's annoying. I'm just gonna say. I find this work very, very annoying. And I think that probably means it's something good and I'm onto something. It's so annoying though, guys. I'm just gonna say that. It's super annoying. Because my little ego self like has gotten so used to the idea that I have to do something. I have to be something. I have to accomplish something. I have to not settle for who I am. Like that's kind of where I'm caught up, where I've been so caught up in my identity for most of my life. And so I associate it with settling, but it's not settling at all. It's just catching myself in a way. It's catching myself in a way. Hey. All right. So I guess that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. And another thing that I just wanted to say about this, because I think it's related, is if you guys deal with fear or anxiety specifically. So someone asked me recently, they were like, what's the emotion that you have the hardest time with? And I think he struggles. Okay. Maybe. I think he struggles mostly with anger, but yeah, I was like, it took me a moment to think about it. And then I was like, oh, I think it's fear. I think that's what I struggle the most with. And maybe that's like they're all related, right? If some people get angry when they're afraid. But I was like, oh, it's fear. And so fear or anxiety is just thinking that you're not safe, essentially. Is thinking I'm not safe. There's something wrong. There's something wrong and I'm not safe. So you are the one to tell yourself that you're safe. Affirm for safeness. Go, I'm safe. I'm safe. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. If you're like afraid, you have to like wrangle in that little brain of yours and tell yourself that you're safe until you believe it, until you feel it. And that's, a lot of people use that for breath work, because I think the reason that breath works for that is because it's very hard to believe that, you know, when we're afraid, we tend to hyperventilate. So there's kind of like a disconnect if you're breathing very slowly and your mind is afraid. It doesn't make sense, and so your mind will assume that you're calm. But yeah, it's just such a basic human need to know that you're safe and secure. And so give that to yourself, guys. I give that to yourself always. In any way that you can, give it to yourself. I think fear is a feeling I feel the most too. Yeah. So what do you do about it? Yeah. And sometimes like we're so used to functioning. This is like the thing about not being enough. So we like construct these selves that are like, okay, so at some point the world fell apart, or at least that's what I thought as like a little child. And then I kind of constructed a self that was like, okay, we need to do this in order to be safe. And everyone is doing this to a certain extent. And it's like how a personality is formed, unfortunately. Or fortunately, like you get the good and the bad. But so, okay, this happened. and this means I have to do, then we make it mean something and we go, okay, now I have to do this. I have to do this in order for me to feel safe. Okay, so it's like built on this false premise that is like, who I am in this moment is not enough. It's built on that premise, that personality, and that way of looking at the world. All right, so it's all constructed within it. And so when you take that back and you go, no, actually, I am safe. When you're a little kid, you don't know that you are safe. But when you take it back and you go, no, I'm perfectly safe. What I'm seeing isn't actually true. I'm safe. I can't not be safe. And I'm taking that back now. And I don't have to do anything, actually. I don't have to do anything. This moment right here is perfect. Who I am right here, right now is perfect. And I don't have to change a single thing. Then your whole world will change. Because how could it not? If you've built a whole like reality and personality around the opposite, then your whole world will change by affirming the opposite. That makes sense. Okay, and then one more. I hope I don't know what you guys are talking about. All right. And then one other thing that I just want to say about self-concept. Okay, so if any of you guys are into like manifesting, or I've kind of talked about this before too, there's like a lot of conversations and ideas out there about you need to believe in yourself and you need to blah, 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 blah. All right, you make the rules, guys. All right. So I'm not going to say that like you need to have a good self-concept in order to lead a good life. Because that's just not true. Or like you need to have a good self-concept in order to have a loving relationship. Or you need a good self-concept in order to do this or play this instrument or have this job or any of that. None of that is true. No, it's fine. Or have friendships or any of that. Like none of that is true. And there's kind of like a stupid, I think it's stupid. It's verging on perfectionism, meaning like you have to think you're so great and you have to like do all the right things and think perfectly in order to lead a successful life. That's not true. That's not true at all. And the reason it's not true is that like lots of people accomplish all kinds of things while thinking all kinds of things about themselves and about the world. Okay, so yeah, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to love yourself. You do not need to love yourself. All right? It's just that every individual is going to put the pieces together in a specific way. All right? And for myself, I definitely have managed to put pieces together in a specific way, and all of you have done this, that it works. Okay? It works for you. It's working pretty well for you. You have a reality, you have friends, I'm sure, you have people in your life, you have a job, you have money coming in. You've managed to put the things together in a certain way that you're able to get by. Even people who like are struggling, are not doing well, are still putting the pieces together in some kind of way in order to get by. You know what I'm saying? It's just that when we want a different frame, when we want a different construct, when we want it to be different and a change in perception and a change in self, then it's like pulling a Jenga piece from the tower that you've constructed that is you in your life, okay? And certain things are gonna fall and get super wobbly, maybe. I'm not gonna say like it will, but certain things might get super wobbly because maybe you've had like a limiting belief about yourself or about other people or about like money or I don't care what it is. But somehow that also propped up something else in your life. You know what I mean? So you're pulling that, but then this other thing might go wonky if you pull that, okay? And there might just be like some adjustment period for all of that. So that's all to say that like I don't know if you can get this perfectly. I don't know that, and I don't know that you need to. It's just a continuous process. There's no like, okay, you did it. You're perfect now. You have uttered yourself and other people, and now you're like, because all we're doing is stepping into a new form of awareness and a new reality and a new consciousness. But we're always going to have some kind of container, okay, that lets us like look out into the world and see things a certain way. We have to see things a certain way, like a specific way. Otherwise, we don't get to have the experience that we want. So it's ever evolving and ever changing, and you don't need to get it right. But if there's certain things that like aren't working for you, then that's when you pull the pieces apart and you start rebuilding the tower, to put it that way. Okay, I'm gonna see what you guys are talking about. And yeah, do you guys have any questions or things you want to talk about? Being myself sometimes because the world is how we should be. Okay, so let's talk about that. Elizabeth. My middle name is Elizabeth. Let's talk about that. Okay, so this is what I believe, and if you don't, that's fine. So I believe that everything is you pushed out. All right, meaning that the way you should be, the way the world perceives you needing to be, is an out image, an out projection, you know, of what you think the world thinks you need to be. You know what I'm saying? So people experience this kind of thing all the time, and like famous people talk about this where like, oh, the second they accepted this part of themselves, suddenly it was like the thing that everyone loved about them. So that's what's happening there, is like what you decide about yourself and what you decide other people see and feel about you, that's what you will get. Is that self-concept? I mean, that's kind of self-concept. So for you, I mean, I don't know exactly what it is that you don't accept about yourself. But I don't know what it is. But the second that you change your perception of that, other people will see you differently. Yeah. And that's something I've experienced that in lots and lots and lots of ways. Can you see or hear me yet? Yeah, I used to be really, really self-conscious about how skinny I was. And I thought it was all that, okay, I'm glad you guys can hear me. I thought it was all that anyone saw. So I would go to auditions, I would go to like casting, I don't know if I ever really went to casting calls, but anyway, and I would meet people too, and I was really afraid that people would see me as really, really skinny and really, really sick, and people would be worried about me. I had that a lot. I was like, people are always like worried for my health. Okay. Pensive peacekeeper. I'm sorry. I wish I could help. And then I remember having a conversation with someone. It was really good, actually. It was someone who was an assistant to a manager. And I shared this with her. And even just like saying this to someone was like, ugh. But I said this to her like, oh yeah, I'm really afraid that everyone thinks I'm too skinny. And I mean, like, her working with actors all the time, she kind of laughed at me and was like, I have never heard anyone say that in the industry. I have never heard anyone go, oh, that girl is too skinny. I don't think you need to worry about that. And that changed everything for me. I mean, it's been kind of like a slow process. There was like another thing too. But there was another thing too that I don't know if I've ever talked about. I also had someone, well, whatever. I also shared it with someone else. And he was just like completely unfazed by my like concern and my anxiety, and that also changed everything for me. It just like made me realize like, oh, no one cares about this. No one cares about this. And now I'm like, oh, whatever. Yeah. So dang chubby. I mean, like, yeah, okay. Same thing. Same thing. You're perfect. You're absolutely perfect the way you are. You are. There's not a thing you need to change about yourself. And if you look at your life right now, like, you're living your life. You have relationships. You have so much just as you are right now. And it's all working perfectly. From that place, you can change anything you want about yourself. Like, I could put on weight if I wanted to, but you never, ever, ever have to, ever. And you're perfect. And the second that you claim that and you say that, everyone else will reflect that to you. Well, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. And also, I mean, like, well, whatever. I'm very pleased with like how we're showing real women's bodies more and more and more and more. Yeah. Okay. What? Who else wants to talk? We need Mocha. Do you need motivation? What else do you guys want to talk about? This is such a strange live stream. You're somewhat motivated. I don't want to get. I don't talk politics. Yeah, things are picking up now. That things are picking up in terms of movies and TV. I'll just say that. Everyone's so motivated. Well, great. I'm glad everyone's so motivated today. A wise decision. Yeah, I don't do it, guys. I don't really watch the news either. Come on. I love it. I love it. There's 13 people on here. I'm so pleased. Yeah. Low-key hungover. I almost never drink anymore. Yeah. That helps? Is that what you said? Does that help? I'm sure you relate to the conversation. Well, what do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? Pensive peacekeeper? You're very pensive? What are you so pensive about? I also want to say, guys, that like the second I started affirming for my being enough, basically the thing that was really stressing me out went away. Like the same day. And that's kind of what I mean about like, if you really think that you're in danger, okay, and a loss of love is danger for a human being. Like when you're really little, babies who don't get love, they die, okay? So it's very real if you feel like I'm not enough. That's a very, very, very real threat, okay? And if you find yourself like not being able to stop thinking about something or not being able to stop stressing about something, okay, chances are if it's like really that overpowering, it's like hitting a base, like core, like not being safe about yourself and who you are in the world. Like it's hitting something deep, deep, deep. So if it's like something like my hair doesn't look good or something, it's not about the hair. It's something deep. And so you can like do all kinds of things to your hair, and you can like affirm for like having beautiful hair, and you can tell yourself you're beautiful, or you can have even like people telling you like you have nothing to worry about, because that's like a superficial thing. But what's really manifesting is like your deep, deep insecurity and fear around you not being good enough, say, or you not being wanted or chosen or needed or important. 10 minutes before. Where do you live, Blackburn? What? Yeah, grab a Molson. That's not like me. A Molson. About 39 minutes. How am I? My loyal fans stayed. I love that I've loyal fans. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, people with political views. I think it's really sad when people lose friends out of politics. Belgium. Oh, that's so cool. Can I come visit you in Belgium? I don't know anything about Belgium except waffles. Yeah. Is there anything else going on? I guess that's it. I feel like I've kind of turned a corner. I do want to say this. And like, I'm in a new, I don't know what I'm going to do now. Like, I've thought about whether I'm going to do like traditional videos again, but actually I'm surprised by like how well these lives have gone. So I definitely want to do more of that. And that's also kind of why I'm interested in TikTok, because I like the off-the-cuffness of it, as opposed to all the editing that I thought was necessary for YouTube, but now I'm like, that's not. And I guess if I like think about my own person, I also appreciate that. Like, I just like seeing people having a conversation for a really long time, totally in the moment. I learn way more that way than I do with something that's polished. I mean, depending on what it is, I guess. Where in Europe have I been? I've been to Ireland, England, Italy, Spain, Germany. I think that's it. France. Yeah. I don't have anything to say about that Far Cry line. Have I ever been to Ohio? Is that where you're from? Have I ever been to Ohio? So I've driven across the states twice. So maybe, probably. Oh. So yeah, like if you guys want shorter focus videos, let me know. Is that something that you guys still want? Or should I just do this? I mean, I guess I know I'll do whatever I want, but I'm here to please. States I've been to. Let's see. I've been to, hi Candy, I don't know. When you're driving across country, you don't know where you are. Wyoming, Illinois, where's St. Louis? I've been there. Vermont, New York, California, Arizona. Where's New Mexico, Texas? Yeah, I've been to Germany. I love Germany. Missouri. I don't know that I've ever been to maybe. Montana. I've been to Montana. Been to Oregon. Never been to Washington yet. And I bet there's like other states in there that I have been to. I just don't know. Montana is beautiful. So I was born in, I was actually born in Alberta, which is right on top of Montana. And my family used to drive down into Glacier National Park when we were little. And so I used to hike there. Like, I think there's pictures of me as like a newborn, like 2 weeks old or something, on a hike in Glacier National Park. So I've been there a lot. Yeah, I've been to New York. Okay, I'll do more videos. Yeah, I'm feeling like good about it again. I'm feeling excited about it again. I just feel this like new level of freedom around being myself, I guess, and talking and sharing. And you guys and the whole channel. I just feel more alive and like invigorated about it. It's always nice. Oh, it is St. Louis. Yeah. Oh, and I've also been to, I remember being in, well, I've been to like Utah and where's Salt Lake City again? Almost died in Utah once. That was fun. In a snowstorm. Yep. What's my opinion on golf? I love when you're here, Elizabeth. What's my opinion on golf? Why do your friends make fun of you playing golf? Have you ever read Golf in the Kingdom? Read Golf in the Kingdom. I think golf is an incredible lesson in mindfulness and philosophy. I think you learn so much about golf, and it's gorgeous. So, your friends can suck it. Also, I think there's nothing like, I'm sure there's something to, that like people make connections over a round of golf, and so it's probably a very good thing to know how to do. How do I feel about astrology? Okay, how do I feel about astrology? Oh, it's in Utah. Thank you. You lose the patience if you can't. I probably would too. I'd probably be like, the ball moved, it wasn't me. They told me, well, have they ever played? Who cares? Who cares? They're wrong. Who cares? I think you're cultivating a very important skill, and I'm sure you enjoy it. You live in Utah? Cool. Mini putt-putt. Wait, what was I saying? I wanted to say something. Oh, astrology. That's what I was going to talk about. Okay. So I've gone through, I think like everyone goes through a period when they're kind of interested in astrology because it's kind of fun. I mean, let's be honest, like it's fun. Tarot readings are fun. And I still have this kind of habit of like, I discovered all my like rising signs and Venus sign and Jupiter, and then I became that person who was like, oh, actually what's important is this, and this means this. I did become that person for a short period of time. Not like in a snobby way, but if the conversation turned to that, I would be like, what's all this? And they had never considered it. And I also had like a chart reading once. Okay. But what I've since learned is that it's just reflecting back your thoughts about yourself. So I have like a lot of water signs in my chart, in my placement. And I would be like, oh yeah, see, I'm so sensitive. I'm so artistic. And it would like reflect back to me. And then the person who did my chart reading gave that back to me too. So, and you kind of like, you listen to what you want to listen. So I have like a lot of Leo in my chart too, in my like Venus and, I don't know, in my Venus and my Mars, I have Leo. And I was like, oh, Leo, like we're passionate and we're, you know, it's all like very complimentary. So you can get very wrapped up in it, but it's only, it's only giving you what you want to hear, essentially, or what you expect to hear. So if you like it, go for it, but don't ever let it dictate your life in any kind of way. And don't ever let it, like, if you're afraid of anything you find out in astrology, like, just don't pay attention to that. Only use it for fun. That's what I would say. Only use it for fun. Like, I kind of wish I could go back and not have the chart reading, actually, because it put some things in my head that I don't like. I remember the chart reader guy was like, do you plan on having children? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, well, you better tell me when you do. And it made it sound like there's something about me having kids. And, you know, like those people will, they'll say like, oh, you're not supposed to have a child. Like they'll look into your chart and say like, you're not supposed to, or like you are supposed to. And if you haven't done it, then you've ruined your entire life. And no. Or they'll say like, this person isn't compatible with you. No, shut up. You decide whether they're compatible or not. Hey, it's midnight. Well, happy tomorrow. How is it? Have I ever been to Medicine Hat? I have. Why do you ask? Where have I been in England? I've been to London, of course. And then I also have been, I don't really know. I was like in the north of England. And I've been to Oxford. but I don't really know. But we are north. We're north. I know that's very specific. I want to like explore more of England though, because that's where all my ancestors are from. I did like that 23andMe, and it's like, I'm British. That's it. That's all you are. Yeah, that's okay. You go. You go, and you take care of yourself, and you have your lovely night. All right, I'm probably gonna sign up too. So yeah, I'm really sorry this was like a bit of a dysfunctional video, but I'm sure it's fine. You've never been to London. Where are you from? I loved London, for what it's worth. Loved it. I love the culture. God. I love when I go places and they really know that the arts are important. The weather's horrible. I mean, it's better than Canada. Just saying. I always thought that like England had cold weather because you see snow in movies, I guess. And then yeah, working with people from England who experience like winters over here, they're like, "Oh, it's cold." I'm like, "Oh, okay. You don't get cold over there." Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna go too. All right, guys. I love you so much. And as always, if you have anything that you want me to talk about or want me to do a video about, please shoot me a message any way that you can. And yeah, I hope you're having an amazing Saturday. And I hope you have a good rest of the weekend. And that's it. Bye.